Okay, well, good morning, Jet fans, or looking at the clock, good afternoon, Jet fans, and welcome to Friday the 13th, week two coming up, New York Jets edition. My last video, we did a review of the team and of game one versus the Bills. Now it's Browns week. It's 17-16, we're 0-1. Patriots are 1-0, Bills are 1-0. Miami got destroyed. It looks like they're looking for the first pick overall. And the Jets are 0-1. Whatever you took out of that game on Sunday, by Tuesday you wanted to start feeling better. And by Wednesday the team starts preparing, and they're doing the game plan and whatnot. And yesterday I'm driving back home, and I get a text from one of my cousins, and it's season's over. And first thing I think of is, all right, who got suspended, who was arrested, and then I see the headline Donald out. I heard that was been tested for strep throat earlier in the week, and now he has mono. From somebody who had mono, I had mono, Jesus, 30 years ago. I was 16. I had it in high school. It doesn't just sneak up on you. You start feeling crappy, and it's a decline until you get it all out of your system. There is no antibiotics for mono. It's basically rest, fluids, food, and you stay away from people because you are highly contagious. It is through saliva mostly, but it's any type of bodily fluid, obviously. I had mono. I started feeling crappy in April. They tested me for strep. I had strep. After 3 weeks, I still wasn't feeling good. By the beginning of May, they took a blood test, and I was actually pulled out of my high school health class, taking a final in May, and told to go home, and I was done for the rest of the school year. The first time I went out after I was diagnosed with mono in mid-May was probably 4th of July, and I wasn't myself until late August. So you're talking about feeling sick in April and not feeling better until late August. You're talking 4 months. How long has Donald had this? In the preseason, you really couldn't tell. He looked fine. He didn't look sick. He played his reps. Sunday, he did not look right. Yes, he made some plays with his feet, but he had 5 or 6 passes batted down. I think he had 3 in the last drive alone, trying to get them into scoring position, or actually they had to get downfield to score to get into field goal range. I don't even know if they would have went for a field goal at that point. That's a whole other story. But anyway, you have the injury report. All right, Donald's out. Mosley had a groin pull. Where is he? Quinnen Williams had a boot in his ankle. Where is he? And then all of a sudden you see Le'Veon Bell MRI for shoulder. So in a 3-day span, you went from seeing Mosley leave early and Quinnen Williams with a boot on to your starting quarterback in his sophomore year supposed to take the next step with mono, and it could be and Gase is calling it. Coach Gase is calling it 2 to 3 weeks. I think he said a few weeks. We're going to miss a couple of games. Thank God for the bye early in this season. The bye's in week 4. The earliest, I think, the very earliest Donald comes back is like week 6. I think he misses Monday night, obviously, with the Browns. He misses next week at the Patriots. He's home on a bye, and then he misses the next game and possibly returns for week 6. That's the earliest. I don't see him coming back any earlier unless he's had the mono for a while and it was just diagnosed and it's coming out of his system. When you have mono, you lose weight. They said he lost weight. You're going to lose muscle mass. You're not going to be able to practice. Not going to be able to take a hit. All physical activities is basically put to a halt. I actually would be awake from maybe 7 o'clock at night and be up all night and fall asleep probably 6, 7 o'clock in the morning and then sleep most of the day. I had my days were kind of reversed. I watched the same damn infomercial for a handheld walk, hammered walk, for many nights during those time off. And all you did was take aspirin to get rid of the fever and any of the pains you had. So, next man up, Trevor Siemian will be the starting quarterback. I think he's better than what we had as backups in Bryce Petty, and I think right now is where you miss Josh McCown. Josh McCown, him stepping in would have never phased me playing the Browns. Like, all right, Josh McCown, seasoned veteran. Trevor Siemian, not as seasoned as Josh, obviously. There's not many in the league that are seasoned as Josh. But he will step up. Le'Veon Bell's MRI came back negative, nothing wrong with the shoulder, no structural damage. I think he's just in a little pain. And we signed a kicker. I believe his last team he played for was the Packers. He was cut during the preseason. Last regular season game I think he had was with the Rams. So we look to the Browns, and they're coming off a horrific loss. Baker Mayfield tossed quite a few pickoffs last week, quite a few interceptions. You have Odell Beckham getting fined for wearing ridiculously high-valued watch. It was a $350,000 watch he wore on the field. And then Odell comes out yesterday, Thursday, and says that he has to be on the lookout for a Greg Williams defense because they're always looking to cheap shot him and taking cheap hits. And, you know, is it Odell just trying to be in the spotlight? Is it Odell? And this is what Carl Banks said this morning on WFAN. I'm going to give him credit for this. Speaking of Joe and Evan, he just made the league, the referees, and both teams aware to look at hits that he's getting from the defense, from the Jet defense. Carl Banks also said that the Jet defense doesn't seem to be players that would take cheap shots. And I hope we don't get hit with unnecessary penalties for this. On paper, over the offseason, over the preseason, you say this is a good matchup. You know, you got Mayfield, you got Donald, you got Odell Beckham, you got Quincy Nunn is done for the season again, bulging disc in his neck. Quincy, we wish you well, but I think this is probably the end of Quincy's career. You don't want to risk permanent damage. This is his second major injury in 2 or 3 seasons. So we pick up Demaryius Thomas from the Patriots in a draft trade. They're going to get a 6th-round pick in 2021. The joke around the league is Thomas had mono and brought it to the Jets. Of course, you know, that's kind of, you know, the joke. But, so, next man up, Robbie Anderson needs to step up. Lev Bell, second game in, you know, we have to ask a lot of him. Offensive line, you need to have Trevor Siemian standing straight up. You need to have openings and holes for Bell. And I'm hoping Montgomery and Powell are both activated. Powell was inactive last week, and they could get this running game going. We're missing Chris Herndon, who's on his second game of a 4-game suspension. So he won't even be back till game 5 either. So on paper, preseason, you say it's a toss-up. As a Jet fan, you like try to look for the positives and the advantages. You know, I'm listening to the NFL Network right now, that's speaking about Trevor Siemian in the background. And they're saying that he could be a big performer this week. I don't know. We got to get to Baker. We got to shut down Odell. So defense, you put 8 points on the board last week. We're going to ask you to put 10 points on the board this week. And offense, Trevor Siemian, you played in Denver. You have started. You have an all-class running back. You have, I know, a depleted type of wide receiver core, but you got to do what you have to do. You can only play who you have. In knowledge, in my head, you look at it and you say, the Jets need to steal this one. The Jets need to come out, make some big plays, another interception for a touchdown, another safety. possibly hit some long field goals, keep the field short. Special teams needs to step up, and they steal this one. In my heart, every week, I think the Jets can win. Realistically or not realistically, I think they can win. So the way I'm calling it now is Jets steal it. I'm going to say that. 17-16. I would have went 17-13, but I think Mayfield's going to put up more points than just 13 points. So I'm saying 17-16. I don't think the Jets muster more than 17 points this week. If our offense could get us 2 scores, 2 touchdowns, and our defense could shut them down, maybe our special teams could put some more points up. So I'm hoping Jets go 1-1 because after this, I believe it's New England next week, definitely New England next week, and I forget who they come back after the bye to play. But then you have Dallas, you have the Eagles, you have the Patriots again, you have the Giants. So I'm going Jets go and go to 1-1, 17-16, same score as last week, only they're on the flip side, they're on the winning side. And that's where we are. I'm on Twitter, on social media a lot, reading tweets. And let me also say, I'm on Twitter at nyjetstories.com. We're on Facebook at nyjetstories. And we have a website, www.nyjetstories.com. I follow a lot of the reporters. I follow a lot of the fans. That's what's trending with the team. People are looking at the draft right now. It's not even the end of week 2. We are the last game of week 2, and Jet fans are looking at the draft. Enjoy the season. You have 15 more games minimum. Hopefully you have more than that, but right now you have 15 more weeks to see what this team can do. Enjoy it. Embrace it. I'll go back to 99, walking into opening day against the Patriots where, we're favorites, one of the favorites to go to the Super Bowl, and, midway through, Vinny Testaverde goes down, and we lose him for the season. And Rick Meyer steps in, and he can't pull anything off. Parcells is not a fan of his. And Ray Lucas comes in. I think Ray Lucas goes, if I'm not mistaken, Ray Lucas starts 7 games. I think he goes 6-1 in those 7 games. And the one game he lost was actually he threw a pick at the end of the game when the team was driving to go in. And the Jets fall 1 game shy of making the playoffs. I think they end up 8-8. And they're 1 game shy of making the playoffs. They made that run. Their defense stepped up. The Ray Lucas stepped in and he made plays. He had Testaverde's wide receiver core. He had the same team that Testaverde had. He had Curtis Martin as a running back. He had Keyshawn Johnson and Wayne Corbett. So Trevor Siemian has the same team as Sam Darnold. Obviously, both of them would have been without Quincy Enunwa. So he needs to step up. Don't throw in the hat now. Don't throw in the towel and start worrying about hockey or start worrying about basketball or watching the Yankees or watching the Mets or worrying about who's going to get the first pick and rooting for the Dolphins to win. Listen, enjoy it. 15 weeks. If you're a season ticket holder and you go out to the games, go and enjoy it. If you're home, enjoy it. If you want to get to a game, you probably can pick up tickets. Because I know a lot of people are already starting to sell their seats. I can't speak for everybody. I'm not patting myself on the back, but I've sat through 3-13, 4-12, 7-9, 5-11, 1-15, and tried to enjoy as much as I could of the game and to see where the team progresses. Obviously, you want to see Donald progress. We won't see that. The one positive with Donald was Coach Gates was asked today if he'd be put on the IR and then hopefully brought back later on in the season, and he said absolutely not. We will get him back sooner than later. So who knows? He may have had this mono 2 or 3 weeks already. He may be halfway through running its course, and he's back by week 6. And if the Jets could pull 2 wins out, and they're 2-3 by week 6, because they have the bye there, or 2-3, 2-4 by week 7, you still have that shot. You still have that shot for 10 wins. You still have that shot for 9 wins. Now, obviously, before the season, I picked 10-6. I said you had to steal a couple of games. You had to win games you were expected to win. Sunday game against the Bills was a game I expected them to win. They basically outplayed the Bills for 30-something minutes, 40 minutes of that game, then gave it away. Looks like when Mosley went down, the whole defense kind of stopped. And Coach Gase said, do not count out Mosley and Quentin Williams for Sunday. They're progressing. He does not rule them out yet. So that's also a very big positive to look at. So the Jets should have won Sunday. That's a game they needed to win. That's a game I expected them to win. So now they got to steal a few more games. Now, going into the season, Monday night was not a game I expected them to steal. I expected them to win that game also, or win the game coming up. This is a game they have to steal. With your backup quarterback, with Quincy Enunwa out, with Mosley possibly a little gimpy, with Quillen Williams, a little gimpy, you got to steal this one. Jamal Adams, I feel your passion. You're calling for a loud house. Give us something to go there and be loud about as well. Again, on FAN today, they're talking about when it got to 16-10, the building just got quiet, and it was because we've been there. We've been at opening day when we lost leads. We've been at games when we lost leads in teams we should have been beating. So we're always waiting for that other shoe to drop. That X factor. I don't believe in curses. I don't believe in jinxes. Just ask the Red Sox. Just ask the Chicago Cubs. Ask the New York Rangers. It's never a curse. There's always a time for your team to take over. 25 years ago, the Patriots were playing in Foxborough with benches as seats in the stadium, and they were going 13 losses a season, 10 losses a season. So it's ex the Saints, the Chargers. There are so many teams right now that are powerhouses that in the 80s and 90s were weak. The Patriots always come to mind. There was a time when the Packers weren't a great team. They just have that history. The Dolphins were very good in the 80s and 90s, but never got over that hump. The Bills went to 4 Super Bowls and then went through, I think they're in a 15-year or a 14-year slump with playoffs. I think last time they went to the playoffs was 2000-something. So don't give up hope. If you have tickets to the game, attend the game, cheer for the game, support the team. That's just how I feel. I'm going to enjoy this game as much as I could. Hopefully pull out a win. 17-16 Jets. We need to steal this one. Visit us on www.nyjetstories.com. Follow us at Twitter. Give us your comments. Give us your thoughts. Give us your story as a fan. What made you a fan of this team? Because that's what we're all about. And hopefully Tuesday I'm able to bring you a victory video and recap what we saw, and hopefully get some more positive news on the injuries and of course Sam Darnold and where he stands. My head right now is Darnold is not on this team until after the bye. You're looking at 3 weeks minimum, because that means it's at least almost close to 4 weeks that he has mono. And that means it's halfway out of his system. And, if you get him back second week in October, that's the way, he could still try to salvage his season. So have a great weekend, Jet fans. There's no Jet football on Sunday. So it's an extra day of anxiously waiting for this game. But we should, watch the other team, see what happens. Patriots at Dolphins. Dolphins getting, I believe it's 18 or 19 points right now. And, the Antonio Brown situation is going on there too. So who knows? Any given Sunday. Have a great weekend. www.nyjetstories.com. www.jetstories.com. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. And follow us on Twitter.